worked hard to ensure that the combination of our video, digipack and poster was effective. To do this, we had certain themes that recurred throughout the project. Our brand image was the clown, who was the main character in the video, and this was reflected in the digipack and the poster, as we used him as the central image. It was also reflected in some of the track names we used, and the name of the album itself was also originally going to be called Circus. However, then changed this to Jack in the Box, as has been recent artists with the same album name, so we decided it wasn't appropriate. The colour scheme we used was the sepia effect that was also used in the video for the flashback shots. We've used this to tie the brand image together. We used a sepia effect on the video to create sort of reminiscent mood that they're looking back to a happier time, which ties in with the digipack and the advert, as we've used the sepia effect on those as well. However, we've contrasted the advert and the digipack with the video by making the sepia effect go onto the clown, giving it a more gloomy atmosphere. On the back of the digipack we've used a still from the video, which again ties them all in, but it also has a shot of the sepia effect. It ties in the colour scheme. The combination of the grayscale and the sepia effect is quite typical of the indie genre. Also the way that the red's been picked out with the balloon and the points on the clown's clothes being left also is quite typical of the genre. The typewriter effect on the font gives quite a retro effect, which again is classic of the indie genre. The idea for the grayscale effect came from the Arctic Monkeys' first album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not, as their whole album is done in the grayscale effect, similar to how we've done ours. Both the digipack and the poster have quite a bare feel. This has created a feeling of loneliness to say that the clown's by himself. To enhance this effect, we also had the clown stood by himself, and then created just a shadow so he's only in his own company and he's got no one else with him. On the digipack for the front and the back we've used Levi Strauss's idea of binary opposites. On the front we've got the clown clearly very unhappy, sat down. However, on the back it's got the clown's back to us and he's with his girlfriend and therefore quite happy. We also use this in our video with the flashbacks compared to the scenes in the flat and around Whitley Bay, because in the flashbacks he's clearly again very happy, whereas in the current time he's clearly not happy.
The open scene of the rough cut was an establishing shot, which showed the clown at work. This gave the viewer a clear indication that the clown was doing his day job. However, we decided when carrying out the final, after audience research and feedback, that it was better to show a flashback of the clown happy, as it helped to show that there was an equilibrium before all the chaos began.
Laughs and jokes around. Remember cuddles in the kitchen, yeah, to get things off the ground. And it was up and away. Oh, but it's really hard to remember that on a day like today when you're home.
We're showing the clown at work. We used the school hall as the location. However, target audience research and feedback showed us that it didn't help create a believable verisimilitude. Therefore, we decided to, when we reshot it, to carry it out at a real children's party, which helped to show a more believable mise-en-scène of a children's party.
Disappointment face, the one that I can't bear, well, can't we just laugh and joke around? Remember cuddles in the kitchen, yeah, to get things off the ground. And it was up and away. Oh, but it's really hard to remember.
Our rough cut performance was not energetic enough. Therefore, when we reshot it, we decided to use a wider range of angles and camera movements to help create a more believable and upbeat tempo, sticking to the forms and conventions of a typical indie genre music video. The flashbacks were not realistic enough, nor could the audience tell that they were flashbacks enough as we carried them out in the same location as the chaos. Therefore, we reshot the flashbacks in a different location and also changed the contrast on the video to sepia so that it was clearer that they were flashbacks of past times rather than the present situation.
Up and away. Oh, but it's really hard to remember that on a day like today when you're all argumentative and you've got the face on, and yeah, I'm sorry I was late, but I missed the train and then the traffic was a state, and I can't be asked to carry on in this debate that reoccurs. Or when you say I don't care, but of course I do, yeah, I clearly do.
During the rough cut, the clown was found to find the pictures of the happy clowns underneath the table in the living room. However, target audience research and feedback showed us that this was not believable. Therefore, when we reshot it, we used the girlfriend's handbag, showing the clown going through her possessions to discover the pictures, once again leading to chaos.
Up and away. Oh, but it's really hard to remember that on a day like today when you're all argumentative and you've got the face on, and yeah, I'm sorry I was late, but I missed the train and then the traffic was a state, and I can't be asked to carry on in this debate that reoccurs. Or when you say I don't care.
The clown getting fired was inspired by the lyrics "I'm sorry I'm late." We used this to show the clown getting fired from his job, showing that the equilibrium had changed after the chaos and that there was going to be a new balance. However, during the final cut, we decided to reshoot it after filming the whole of the video in one night. When it came to filming during the night time, showing the clown getting fired, the lighting wasn't good enough. Therefore, after reshooting, we decided to show the clown getting fired as he missed the train, also linking to other lyrics during the video.
And you've got the face on, and yeah, I'm sorry I was late, but I missed the train and then the traffic was a state, and I can't be asked to carry on in this debate that reoccurs. Or when you say I don't care, but of course I do, yeah, I clearly do. Yeah, to get things off the ground, and it was up and away.
The guitar solo during the riff cut was not obvious enough as the singer was seen and on screen rather than the guitar being shown. Therefore, during the final cut, we decided to make the guitar solo more obvious and more important, and in order to do this we used a variation of shots, also adding to more editing skills which we lacked during the riff cut.
Yeah, to get things off the ground, and it was up and away. Oh, but it's really hard to remember.
We reshot the final scene where the clown takes his makeup off, as after target audience feedback we discovered that shadows was still a main issue of ours. Therefore, once we finished refilming, we also decided to add another dimension to the end of the video. We decided to add another flashback, linking back to Todorov's theory that there was a new equilibrium had been established.
We used a lot of codes and conventions from existing media products. A lot of our inspiration came from Fluorescent Adolescents by Arctic Monkeys, because along with them we also added the Sad Clowns, which was quite a quirky theme to have. Another inspiration that we had was from the album by Snow Patrol, Eyes Open, which meant that we could link a lot of our songs names to the name of the album, Jack in the Box, which they also did. Media theorists when making our music video, especially Claude Lévi-Strauss again with the opposite. So we used the again happy versus sad, but another one that we used was present versus past. So we used typical conventions for that by changing the colour scheme to sepia, which we then carried on throughout our digipack and used as a sort of theme throughout the video and media products such as the poster and digipack. To follow the codes and conventions of a typical Arctic Monkeys theme, we decided to use quite a simplistic look for the digipack and advert. So we didn't have to use the band to sell the product. So we just had a theme running throughout of the clown. So we did this a bit to show that the band's well known enough to not have to use the band as the main thing standing out for the audience for the product. We also, by using the clown, we also had the theme running throughout, which was a lot like the Snow Patrol's Eyes Open album. So it linked a lot to existing media products of a similar indie genre. Okay. The songs we decided to use on the back of our digipack linked a lot to the album by Snow Patrol, Eyes Open, because they had songs like Shut Your Eyes and Hands Open, which links a lot to the name of their album, which we did by using the theme of the video in Mardy Bum with the clown, and we used it throughout, and we also named songs to link to the Jack in the Box theme.
We used the Magic Wand tool on the clown and selected it from its original background to move on our own original white background. We did this by Ctrl-Shift-J to create a new layer, like so. We then drag the clown onto our white image to begin editing. Then by selecting Ctrl-Shift-U, we carefully selected all the red within the image. After all the red in the image was selected, we then took out all the colour within the image apart from the red. We used Blogger.com as almost a diary to plan our product. We all had an administrator accounts so we could each manage our own blogs. We uploaded images of already existing album covers and posters to analyse. We uploaded videos for audience research, and we also uploaded a PowerPoint to show our initial ideas. By pressing Ctrl-Shift-U, we selected all the colours from the image, apart from red. We then changed the hue and saturation of the colours to 40 to create a sepia looking effect. Then to create the shadow of the clown, we duplicated the layer and changed the transparency of one of the layers to 0. We then stretched the image to make it look more like a shadow and placed it behind the clown. To create the gradient effect on the front of our cover, we selected the gradient tool and dragged it across the screen to create a gradient looking effect.